Hello guys, you can see in the left is the 5 pi joy and in the right is the 4 pi joy with the angle in here is 120 degree and everything connected using surface. Okay, so I will start. I will create a new sketch in the top view and I will create a circle and I will set the diameter to 23. I go up to the view and toggle axis cross to show the arrow. Now I want to extrude this one to 10 and I uncheck create solid and I click OK. Okay. Now I want to move this one up, so I go inside the sketch and placement, the z-axis, turn this one up to 25. Now we just bring this one up to 25. And because next I want to separate this cylinder into multiple pieces before I want to create a clone and rotate it around to generate formal geometry down here. So I will create I will go inside the sketch again and Ctrl C to copy this one and Ctrl V to paste it. The reason I copy this one is that I want the new sketch to have the same value in the z-axis. And I go inside the sketch 001, the new one, and I view the section. And because I know that the diameter is 23, so I will delete in the circle, delete it. And I can draw a polygon. I go to the regular polygon. And you can type in here the number that you want. For example, I'm just doing that for an example. For I go to 6, click OK, and I draw. You can see I have a polygon with 6 edges, and I set the diameter of the circle to 23. Click OK, and let me bring this point to the center, and I go out. And then I can extrude this one to 10 and uncheck create solid. Click OK. Now I can control selecting the extrude and the extrude 001. Go to the plot, split, and slide to compound. You can say we just separate the first extrude into multiple, into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this one is 6, but because this line is the default line of the circle, so we just have 2 more faces in here, but it's fine. Next, I want to copy this one, so I click on the slide and go into the drag workbench. In the drag workbench, I can create a clone, one clone. And then I go in the slide, click on the slide again and create another clone. Doing the same so that we will have 4 more. Okay. Now I click on the first lines and go to the transform and type in here 90 degree. And grab the red one and rotate it to the right. Okay. Doing the same for the second one. Grab the green one and rotate it. The next one, transform the red one and rotate it to the left. And the last one, grab the green one, rotate it. Okay. Now you can say in here I will connect them together but I don't want that much separation. So I just want to separate this one into 4. So I want to change the division of the cylinder. So I go inside here, the first one, and I go inside the extrude 001 and the sketch 001. And I just simply delete in this one and recreate with the number is 4. And then I go inside this point and draw this one out. Okay, now I can set the diameter to 23 again. And then I select in this line and I hit H for horizontal. Then I close. Now you can see we just separate this one into 4 pieces. But again, we have a line in here in the middle. So I don't want that because I want to connect this this face and this face using a plane surface. And in here, I want to have another line to generate the plane curve. And in here also another plane curve. And I will fill the surface up here. Okay. And once I have these 2 surfaces, I will join them and I will compound them and using the polar array. From there, I will generate the surface at the bottom. So how to do that? First, I will select in this one, the slide 003 and go to the transform. And I grab the blue one and rotate it to the left. Click OK. Now we just move the default edge into this position, which is what I want. Doing the same with this one. Transform, and because the default edge right in the bottom, so I rotate this one 180 degree up like this, and I click OK. Now I can go to the curve workbench and using the plane curve, the plane surface, I control selecting this face and then this edge, this face and then this edge, and plane surface. You can see in here the continuity is fine, but in here the continuity is not good. It's wrong. So I click on the plane surface and go to the continuity show and set this to -2. Click off. Alright, now the plane surface is much better. And I click on the new plane surface and then I can decrease the sample. You can see the surface is a little bit sharp right here, so I want to smooth a little bit. So click on this one and go to the samples and set this to 5. Okay, I think 5 is better. Now I will create in some plane curve. So I go to the surface workbench and control selecting this edge and then this edge and creating a plane curve. And again, click on the plane curve and zero out the start size and the end size and put 1 for the start size. 1 not good, so -1. End size 1. Okay. Now I click on this one, the plane curve, and I want to go to the drop workbench and creating a clone of this. I click on the new clone and go to the transform and rotate this 90 degree, pointing in this direction. Now I go to the prod workbench and extrude this plane curve to the right. In the y-axis, +1, and I click OK. Doing the same with the clone. Extrude -1 for for the x-axis, and I click OK. Now I can fill the surface, but before I do that, I need a short edge in here. So I can draw selecting this one, which is the first slice, and this one, the extrude 003, and I go to the part, split, and then slide to compound. Okay, now I have slide 5, and I drop this one down and show the extrude. Now I can fill the surface. I go to the surface workbench and fill in the surface. And click on each edge and choose the face and G1 for that. Okay. Alright, it's pretty good. Now I can hide these two extrudes. And then I can control selecting this one. And then this one. And I go to the prod workbench. And I go to the prod compound and make compound. And I click on the new compound. And then I go to the draw workbench, modification, array tool, and polar array, reset point, and set this to 4. Click OK. Now I can click on the new array and go to the downgrade. Now I have a new cell. I go down here and go to the surface workbench and fill in the bottom. In my experience, you should start from the edges from you should not start from the edges from the blank surface, okay? You should start from the edge from this cylinder. So I start from this edge and continue. Because if you start from the edge of the plane surface, sometimes the FreeCAD will cracks. And then you can select in each edge and choose the face and G1. Click OK. Now I will fill the surface around. So let me go to fill in again and fill in this one. Click OK. Fill in again and fill in this one. I click on this surface and go to the stroke workbench and go to the modification, array tool, and polar array, reset point, and set this to 4. Now I click on the array and go to the downgrade to turn that into a cell. Now I can just select in all of these clones, the slide 005, the cell, surface, surface, and the cell. Go to the curve bench. Okay, now if you want to create in, now you can go to the prod workbench, and if you want to create in the thickness, you can control selecting all of these faces, and you creating the thickness, and you can go to -2, even -5 if you want to, and the FreeCAD working fine for that. And let's try -2. All right, so this is the 5 pies connection. Okay, so this is another example of 4 pies connection. I create a sketch in the top view and also create a circle, diameter 23, close, and toggle axis cross. Okay, now I click on the sketch and extrude this one up to 10 and unjet solid. Also, selecting the sketch and move this one up. This time I move this one higher, 30. And then I copy this sketch, Ctrl C and Ctrl V. And then I go inside the sketch. I view the section and deleting this circle and creating a regular polygon and type in here 6, click OK. I select in this point and this line and I hit C to snap it and set the diameter to 23. Then I close. And I also extrude this one to 10 and uncheck create solid. Click OK. Now I control selecting the extrude and extrude 001 and plot, split, and then slide to compound. Okay. Now I want to create in 3 more copy of the slice. I go to the dropper bench and selecting the slice and creating another clone. For the first clone, I go to the front view and transform this one with 120 degree, and I grab the green one and rotate this one 1 unit. Now I want to make a 2 copy of this clone. Let me hide the grid. Creating another clone. Selecting this clone and create another clone. For the second clone, I click on the second clone and I go to the rotate. And make sure you turn on the snap lock and snap end point. Okay, snap middle point also. Snap middle point, okay. Then you select in the second clone and then you click on the rotate, and the center of the rotation will be 0 for S1Z. So we type in here 0, and then I click on the enter point and make sure you uncheck all of these options here, and then you click on enter point and you move your mouse over here. You can see the center of the rotation is now in the center of the scene, and the next point will be the center of this arc over here. Zoom close here. The center, you can see, you should see this icon, and then you rotate this one to, you come over here and again uncheck these 3 options and type in here 120, then enter. Now you can see I have another copy in here. Doing the same, I select in this clone and go to rotate and 0 out V3 and enter point. Come over here, selecting the middle one. Okay, this icon is very important. This one. Yeah, this one. And then you come to here and type in here 120 multiply 2. Okay, now we have something like this. The next step is I also move the default line right here up here to up here. Okay, and also doing the same in here. Let me go to the right view and selecting this clone and go to the transform. And I grab the blue one and make sure the rotation increment is 180. Okay. And then you grab the blue one and rotate this one 1 unit. You can see now the default line pointing up. Doing the same in here. Transform. Grab the blue one and rotate this one. Also this one. Grab the blue one and rotate this one 180 degrees. All right. Now go to the front view. And in here, I will fill the surface down here. So I go to the curve workbench. At the curve workbench, I will go to this view down here and control selecting this face and this edge. This face and this edge. And plane surface. And you can see the plane surface again break. So I click on the plane surface and I go to the continuity number 1. So I go to -2. So change that to 2 again. And change this one to -2. Okay, now it's working. So you can see in this view, the plane surface a little bit sharp for me. So I click on the plane surface and I change the sample to 5 to make this one a little bit more curved, smooth in the middle in here. I will create in some plane curves. So I go to the surface workbench and control selecting this edge and then this edge. And plane curve. Click on the plane curve and the first star size will be -1 for that. Also, I set the start continuity to 1 and end continuity to 1. The reason I set this to 1 is that I will use a plane curve in the middle here to control the shape of the surface. And I found that the G1 continuity in the middle will give us a better shape. And if the center is G1, this curve is G2, the shape will have a little small problem in here. So that's why I will set everything in G1 so that the surface will be better. So next I will creating a copy of this plane curve. I go to the drag workbench and click on the plane curve and creating a new clone. And I click on the new clone and go to the transform and I type in here 120 and I grab the blue one and rotate this one to the left. Now I can go to the product workbench and starting to extrude the plane curve. I click on the plane curve and extrude this one to the y-axis, positive one, and I click OK. I click on this plane curve and extrude, and OK. And you can see the clone extrude in the wrong direction. I click on the new extrude and go to the reverse option and set that to true. And you can see up here I need to create another slice, so that I need another small edge in here. So I will control selecting this one and then this one and go to the plot, split, and slide to compound. Now I have a short edge. I drop the new slide down and show the extrude. Now I can fill the surface. I go to the surface workbench and fill in the surface. Okay, now I select in each edge. I choose the face and G1 for that. Now I can have these two extrudes. And you can see if you look in this direction, the surface go out a little bit too much. You can see the surface go just a little bit too much in here. So in order to control the surface, the shape of the surface, I need to have a line up here and another line down here, and creating a plane curve in between to control that. So because I'm thinking about the ISO curve, so that I go to the curve and I select in this face and go to the ISO curve. So you can say ISO curves separate, generate multiple edges. So I can go to zero out to the U, the V, and set the U to 3. But you can see the ISO curve doesn't give us the center lines. So in this case, I cannot use the ISO curve. So I will create in a sketch in the plot workbench instead. So I go to deleting the ISO curve and go back to the plot workbench. Let me hide the surface for a second. In the plot workbench, I will create a sketch in the top view and creating a line in the middle, go out and set the angle to 60 degrees, close, and then I can extrude this one 100 and symmetric. Now I can control selecting this surface and this extrude and go to the plot, split, slide to compound. You can see I have this middle line. Control selecting this slice and this extrude and plot, split, and slide to compound. Okay, now I can create in the plane curve. And control selecting this edge and then this edge and plane curve. Click on the new plane curve and zero out the start size and the end size. Put 1 for the start and end continuity. I put the start parameter to 1 and end parameter to 1 to bring that into the correct position. The start size to 1 and the end size to 1. So 1 not good, so I go to -1. Okay, now I can show the surface. I double click on the surface and go to the X constraints click on Add Edge and select in this edge. Click OK. Now I can hide the plane curve. As you can see, the surface is much better. I click on this one, which is the slide 005, and I hide it. And I show the plane curve, the plane surface. I go to the plot workbench. Control select in the V2. And go to the plot, compound, and make compound. Select the compound. Go to the drop workbench. Add modification, array tool, and polar array. Reset point and set that to 3. I click on the array and go to the downgrade. Now I have a new cell. I go to the bottom and go to the surface workbench and starting to fill the surface and start from the edge of the cylinder. Selecting each edge and choose the face and G1 for that. Now I can fill this surface in here. And the surface up here. By selecting the surface down here, go to the drop workbench and polar array. Reset point and set that to 3. And go to downgrade. Okay. Now I can control selecting all of these 3 slides. Okay, control selecting the slide 6, the cell, the surface 001, 003, and the cell 001. Okay. Now I can go to the curve workbench and parametric solid. I control selecting these 3 surfaces. And I go to the plot workbench and thickness. And you can create a thickness inside -2. Okay. So that's it for the tutorial. So for another example. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video.